Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Earl Rush. I'm here with the Straight Up Talk with Earl Rush show. And our guest this evening is Ramiro Parada, aka El Padrino. So I was going to go into a long introduction, but everything's running so smooth. Ramiro is here already. You will find out about him as we go on. Ramiro, how are you this evening?
I'm doing great, Earl. Thank you for inviting me to your show. This is amazing. I've been following you. I've been following you forever, but you're one of those that reinvented yourself real quick and came up with a talk show, and you're not just having anybody in there. You had Henry Knowles, you had like cream of the crop, and in your show. That's amazing. I'm honored to be part
Oh,
of this, and I'm honored to be invited, man. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
thank you for the kind words, Ramiro. But this isn't reinvention. You remember back in 2005 when you would have parties at Yucca. I was interviewing people in the VIP section, so I've been doing this for a while. So we're going to get straight to the point, remember, because we got so much to talk about, and I'm not going to be dilly dallying around. The first thing I would like to know is, what were you doing when you were growing up as a kid? How long were you here in this area? Are you from this area, or did you move to this area from another area?
No, I actually came back in back in '86. Um, I was 14 years old. I came to visit my uncles, and I just came to on a vacation, and it was me, my two other brothers, and of course my mom, and and happened to go to school for a little bit so I can learn the language. I had no idea what I didn't know speaking English type of thing. So so I went to school and I made some friends. And when it was time to go back home, uh, I told my mom, I was like, "Mom, I think I'm just gonna stay here." I was like, "You can't stay here.
Uh-huh.
Eventually your tourist visa is gonna expire and you're not gonna have a job." I said, "I think I'll be okay with that." Because um, back when I was even younger, I've always been a business. I had this business mentality, so I was selling cigarettes to my own brothers and my dad and friends. Um, so I was like, okay, so what if I can't get a job because I will eventually be illegal?
Right,
Um, I'll make my own job.
right.
Whatever. So she's like, all right, so we're leaving. We're going back to Bolivia, and you're staying here, and your two other brothers are coming with me. Uh, so, so that's how it happened. I stayed here. I made some friends, and I saved enough money to buy a lawnmower. So I was cutting everybody's grass around my uncle's neighborhood. My uncle was kind enough to for me to stay at his house and so forth. And um, so I was like, "There's no way that you know, I I basically cut so many lawns that I was able to purchase my first Technics 1200 turntable."
Okay.
And that's when I was 14, 15. And of course, one turntable doesn't really cut it. But back in the days, you had to make it work. I had a cassette player on the other side,
Okay.
on the other table.
Okay.
and I was just practicing with one turntable because they weren't cheap.
Okay.
So, but I really really practiced a lot. I mean, I would get home from school at 2 p.m. and I would practice and mix until 11 at night. So very quickly I got known around the school, play, playing all the skipping parties and the pep rallies and all that stuff. And eventually, I got a call for somebody from a nightclub. My passion is house music. Uh, and I love house music. That's what I was really going for. I went to sound engineering school. I graduated as a sound recording engineer. I was going to go into producing music and so forth, but it was a very competitive market. Um, so I was DJing house music all through the 90s during the week, but on the weekends, there was a nightclub that one of the DJs, uh, the nightclub was called Connections,
Hmm.
was one of the best nightclubs. I mean, you couldn't even get in by one a.m. So the DJ jumped out the window and suicide, or yeah, he killed himself, or I don't know what happened. It was sad, and I didn't really know him, but I just got a call that said, "Listen, our DJ jumped out the window on the
Oh,
from the second floor, and we don't have a DJ. Uh, can you help us
wow.
DJ tonight?" I said, "I don't really DJ salsa," and it was straight up hardcore salsa and merengue nightclub. And I said, "I don't know how to help you, but," and the manager happened to be a really good friend of mine and said, "Listen, you got to bail me out. I don't know what you got to do, but," so I grabbed a friend of mine and said, "Listen, man, we got to go to a record store and at least get enough salsa and merengue to get through this night because I just got to help a friend out." So yeah, sure enough, we went and everybody loved the music that I played. And even though at 14, 15, salsa and merengue was not my thing, but they said, "Listen, would you like to DJ Thursday, Friday, and Saturdays? Because we need a DJ." And so I was like, "Well, South America is not my thing, but I think I can make it work."
Hmm.
Uh, because I was DJing house music
Right.
the rest of the nights. So I was in high school DJing 7 nights a week.
Wow.
Um, so all the high school friends knew that I can get them in for free, and that they can get the. I wasn't even old enough to get in the nightclub. I mean, go in the nightclub, but I was actually playing most of the biggest clubs in the
Wow.
city. I was in high school. I was DJing at Number Chicago, Anastasia's, Opera, you name it, Dakotas, a lot of places that a lot of the young folks probably can't remember.
Right.
But
Right.
yes, that's how it all started, and I started DJing 7 nights a week, different places, and so then if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it right. So I started studying the music. I started studying not only who plays the song, but who's playing the congas, who's playing the wind section, who's so I got to know a lot about Latin and salsa music. So I when I was in high school, there was somebody. His name is Norman Gross, that pretty much owned every nightclub in the city. He pretty much have had a monopoly on all the nightclubs. He owned Numbers, Opera, Anastasia's, the Playpen in Ocean City, you name it. He had them all. So I told him, I was like, listen, you don't have to pay me. I'll come here as an intern and just to learn the game. So um, the um, the marketing director there basically took me under his wing and said, "Look, I'm gonna show you the ropes and show you all the promotion game and so forth." And yeah, sure enough, I started learning and they, back in those days, we used to have an in-house graphic designer that would do our flyers. So just to give you a perspective, Norman Gross's office was like Masood, Mark Barnes coming in there, everybody coming in there to do their flyers and so forth. And we all kind of pretty much started at at NGNG, which was his company. So so we used to have an in-house graphic designer, but I hated the way my flyers were turning out. So I asked the owner if I can come in at night and try to learn this computer thing. I mean, back in those days, we had like a 286 computer, but it's worth like $4,000. It was kind of unaffordable for us. But so I started doing my own flyers for my own parties, and then all of a sudden, all the other promoters like the urban nights, and because I was doing the Latin nights, there was E. Taylor, uh, Mark Barnes, and they were all like, "Hey, how come his flyers looking better than our flyers?" So he's like, "I don't know. This guy comes in the middle of the night and does his flyers himself." So all of a sudden, I started getting all the other promoters to hit me up to do flyers, and that kind of snowballed into me making flyers for other people and so forth, and uh and now I deal with more corporate businesses, and I still service a lot of the nightclub and restaurant industry, but that's kind of how everything got started. So I was just basically doing my day job was doing the design for all these uh, nightclubs, and my night hat was DJing 7 nights a week. But eventually, it got to the point where um, this gentleman that owned all the nightclubs, he decided to go bankruptcy and all the nightclubs. So I was gonna be out of a job. So was my very, very, very good friend Kato was a host as well and a promoter where I was DJing at. So so when we found out that all the clubs that we were actually working at were gonna shut down, I decided to start getting, back in those days, you can't get people's email addresses. We were getting home address. They're like, give me your home address. And we were sending mail outs and saying, look, okay, because I was DJing Wednesday nights at Chicago's doing 800 people on a Wednesday night. And people wearing suit and tie. And I we were doing about 1,500 people at opera
Mm-hmm.
at the old Dakotas, and what now it is it's a JC Penney, if I'm not mistaken
Yeah.
now. Yeah, so I decided to just basically go after the market that we had, because people were basically coming to see me play or hear me play, and I was able to get a pretty good following. And that's what a lot of DJs don't understand. You got to run this as a business, and if you don't have a following, uh, because every DJ, especially nowadays, if you have a computer, you can be a DJ, but are you going to be able to get a gig? Are you going to be able to get a gig just because you say you can play as good as music as the next DJ? That doesn't cut it for a lot of promoter. I mean, for a lot of owners, they want to see numbers, and that's one of the, you know, as a matter of fact, the way I got my name as the Godfather, uh, Norman Gross um, sat me down at 15 years old, and he said, "So I heard that you're playing at this place, Connections, and it's packed. We want to get you in all of my places. Um, but your name sucks. We I can't even pronounce your name, Ramiro. What the hell is that?" It's like, so he was very straightforward, I would say, and he said, "Well, at that time there was somebody really big in the techno world that his name was the Godfather of techno."
Mm-hmm.
So we were at a round table and said, "Okay, look, we're gonna run commercials on TV, on radio, and everything, but we cannot run it with your name. You need to have a name. How do you say the Godfather of techno, but in Spanish?" So I was like, El Padrino de la Salsa. So he's like, "Okay, you got it." So the next, you know, after that, we had like commercials running left and right, and I got stuck with the name El Padrino de la Salsa. Yeah, so that's the story behind the name, actually.
Wow. So, Ramiro, what when you were growing up, what made you want to become a DJ?
I love music, man. I mean, if you don't have music in your life, are you okay? I mean, it's even when I wake up in the morning, and not every morning is a good morning. You know, sometimes you get stressed out, and you get uh, you you have a lot of stuff going on. But I turn on some music, and everything seems to fall in place. So I do love music. I think everything I do is for a passion. I Everything I do it because I'm passionate about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I was a DJ, a promoter, a designer, and everything I do, I try to do well and the best that I can.
And so, by going by our story so far, just like I said on Facebook, you have never really had a boss. You've never had a 9 to 5 job, have you? Have you ever?
No, I, I'm very fortunate that I was able to pretty much wing it, uh, and not ever have a boss. And it's kind of scary at the beginning, because you know sometimes you can't make ends meet. When I first started the business, it was a little bit hard to make ends meet, especially when you're gonna take on a lease uh, of a space and so forth. But once you do it and you lose that fear, then everything just comes natural. So I never had a boss in my entire life. Never had a paycheck. I mean, every paycheck that I had is from the work that I do, pretty much. So, and I'm I'm still going.
Funny. So Ramiro, remember Lucky Strike? It was a old beat up warehouse. What was the name of that group? You bought a huge group from somewhere from South America, and you did a
Yeah, so I've never been too much. I did bring a show, Grupo Nietzsche, where Lucky Strike used to be. It was called Insomnia,
right,
Insomnia, and uh, beautiful venue. We brought Grupo Nietzsche, but I've never been a fan of bringing. I'm not the Oscar Condeso, or I'm not the guy. I'm not your guy for concerts because I just simply don't believe in. I I was more like getting nightclubs and making money every weekend instead of making money once every 6 months.
right,
And of course, then there's the risk factor where you could lose your shirt or you can make it. But my whole idea was more of, I had, as you know, I had Coco Loco for 5 years, Diva for another 4 years, uh, Spy Club, um, Fellini's, Ooh La La, Relish, Yucca, Caribbean Breeze for another 9, 10 years. So I was able to hold on to ongoing parties rather than just making a one-time concert.
right,
Because to me, it didn't make sense that because as a promoter, you pay so much for the band, the door pretty much will go to the band, and whatever liquor is consumed, maybe you get a little bit of it, but it didn't add up to me. To That's why you've never seen me do that many concerts. I mean, yeah, I mean you can call me out on that one, which uh, was great. We did all right. Wasn't nothing to brag about, but
right,
my 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 whole thing is not bringing concerts because it's too risky. Unless you're the owner of the place,
hmm,
and then the whole business had changed. The whole business has changed when salsa back in my days. We dance on gravel, we dance on pavement.
hmm,
We don't care. We're you know and and then the business started changing with all the salsa classes and salsa lessons and some of the ballroom. I'm like, what is going on over here? And then I when and let me not even get into this story yet because we will. This whole Caribbean breeze thing, that was all you. I mean, I remember I was taking my family on a road trip, and then you called me all of a sudden. I said, and that was right when I left Yucca, because I started at Relish, Fellini's, Ooh La La, and then Yucca. They just keep changing names, and my night was the only one paying the bills basically Saturday night. And when I lost that, I took maybe about a a quick break of about 2 3 months, and then you called me and said, "Listen, man, I'm at this place. It's called Caribbean Breeze. The owner is mad cool. His name is uh, Mike Cordero." I was like, "Look, man, I'm with the family right now. Let me see if I can make it work." And I said, "I'm doing Friday nights." I said, "Well, let me look at the place first." Da 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 da. And I remember we made a deal, and till this day, you are the one that introduced me to Mike Cordero. Granted that we didn't know that Mike Cordero was coming to Numbers in Chicago when dancing disco when I was DJing. And he's like, "Yeah, I know you're from back then and whatever." But that was really the time when uh when you introduced me to Mike, and I remember there was no sound system. I had to bring in my own sound system. There was no dance floor and so forth, but we made it work. You were killing it on Fridays. That was like the hottest party. Oh my God, that. So I mean, for me, I I was el padrino de la salsa. Then I dropped de la salsa off, and I just became el padrino because I felt like the salsa was kind of holding me back because it became this whole like kind of like a sport, like a like Zumba night. Okay, well, what's going on here? You come here with your shoes and your own water. What's happening here? Like, uh, they're gonna kick me out of every place I go.
Yeah.
So I dropped the la salsa off so that I can give you the baton and you can handle the salsa and I can handle the, the others.
You're too funny. That's good. Well, I accepted the baton, and it was great for you to hand it over to me, Mr. Padrino.
Yeah, no, I mean, I have so much respect for you, and not only you. I mean, there's so many people that paved the way for salsa in the DMV area. I mean, let's not forget, uh, uh, let's not forget the salsa web.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
Edie,
The way from
Sam Rodriguez,
yeah.
Jerry, Wendell, Eileen Torres. I mean, the list can go on of, of the people that really put in so much work,
Yeah.
to make salsa what it is now. Well, obviously we're gonna evolve and everything is gonna change and things are changing. We're never gonna bring those memories back. It's
Okay.
never gonna be what it used to be.
Okay.
So the way I see it, you have to adapt. As a business person, you have to adapt.
Right.
I remember you not liking bachata. All right, remember that?
Of course.
I'll call you out on that.
Oh yeah. No.
I remember when I was DJing back in the days, and not you, but you play you play one merengue and one bachata, and people feel like they're suffocating. Like they're like, I'm like, give me a break. It's only two bachatas or whatever. And I'm not you know, I like music. I like every kind of music. I love reggaeton.
Mhm.
I love I love every kind of music. You gotta just take it as a go. I love go-go. I'm from DC. You know what I'm talking about. Junkyard band, the whole nine yards. I love it all.
So Ramiro, one reason why it has never been a problem for you to get a venue, never ever, is because you have what everybody wants. You have a drinking crowd. Is that by luck? How did that happen, or how? Why did the drinkers follow you?
Well, man, let me tell you, back in the days, there wasn't a thing where there's a drinking crowd and there's a non-drinking crowd. It was when you go out with your lady back in the 90s, you're going out to have a good time, to drink, and God knows what else you're gonna do, but it's happening. You're going out to have fun. Then the business started switching into like more of a more of a sport, and then I was like, what's going on here? It's like there's no way I I can convince an owner of an establishment to lend me the place as a gymnasium and make any money, and they will go to the they will go to the bathroom to refill their water bottles. I so that's when I was like, wait a second, I think I'm gonna let Earl take care of this one, and I'm gonna go for the drinking crowd. So there is a so yeah. I mean, I in the car I listen to salsa because that's my passion. I listen to salsa in the car, but that doesn't mean that that's gonna bring me the cheese.
Right, right.
So you gotta have a little bit of both. I mean, I realized that like I mean the bachata crowd drinks a little bit more and they smoke hookah, but the salsa crowd, you gotta charge them at the door because if you don't get it at the door, you ain't gonna get it. I don't even know. I mean, I was in the days where I used to get the door, the management or establishment would get the bar. Those days are over.
Yeah.
There's no way. I mean, I think the bachata branch and the salsa crowd can still get away with charging at the door, but there is nowhere in DC there is a cover anymore. Well, nowadays it's completely shut down, of course. But even before that, um, cover charges. I remember we used to pay $20 cover charge on a Tuesday back in the days,
Mm-hmm.
and you had to wear a suit and tie.
Right.
Like at Spy Club, when I was promoting with my good friend Cato, we would not let you in if you didn't have a jacket
Right.
on a Wednesday night. And we had a line out the door. And so we went to the Salvation Army and bought like 50 jackets, like suit jackets. So like if you want to get in, pick one of these jackets and look good. And we'll let you in and that's how we did it. But and back in those days, jeans was not allowed in the clubs.
Right. Right. Right.
I, have you like Chelsea's? You know, this guy. I mean, I think the first time I saw you, it had to be at Chelsea's, man. I'm like dancing, and this guy is doing handstands. He's dancing tap to salsa and doing a handstand, and he's like at least 10, 15 years older than me. I'm like, this guy is unreal. So, and you're still doing it. That's the craziest thing.
Yeah.
Can you still do it?
I still do, but I don't know what's wrong with me. Hopefully, one day I'll eventually go off the town.
Hey, I got videos. I got videos to prove it.
So, Ramiro, answer me this: I have seen you dance. I know you dance very well, but I very rarely ever see you dance when you go out. So my question would be, did you learn from watching? Because I don't see you ever taking any classes, but you are actually a good salsa dancer. So how did that come about?
Yeah, well, I love dancing. I can wing it. I can dance with the I can dance on one. I can dance on two. Um, I love dancing. Um, I I I don't find it. The whole dance thing has become like so weird to me now. It's like, they ask you whether you're on one or on two. I dance on four, girl.
Uh,
So it's I enjoy it whenever I find somebody that I enjoy dancing with. I still dance, you called me out a few times. I'm the kind of dancer that will do the crossbody lead the whole dance, and a few funky turns that you don't know about.
okay. So what made you and Lee El Gringuito, the other hardest working man in DC, what made you guys get together and come up with this crazy ultimate New Year's Eve? Give me some lowdown on that.
Man, I I have so much respect for Lee and Kat, and he's definitely a visionary. Um, and I was driving to New York, and everybody was in this salsa craze. The salsa thing was going hard, and he called me and talking about this bachata thing that's gonna be the new thing. And I think he talked to me for about a good 20 minutes on my way to New York. I think I was going to see Henry, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, so I was with my girl at that time, and I said, I think this guy is crazy. He thinks he thinks bachata is going to be the new thing. Um, and sure enough, man, he's the bachata. He made bachata in this area, basically. I mean, no doubt. The way we came, so he talked to me then, and I was doing New Year's Eve parties at Caribbean Breeze.
Hmm.
Eventually, Caribbean Breeze turned into another nightclub
Right.
uh, called A Town.
Okay.
So he called me up and said, "Hey, I know you have a really good, successful New Year's Eve. How would you like to do a New Year's Eve with salsa and bachata?" I was like, "Oh no, not again." So I said, "You know what? That could be a thing. Let's talk about it. Let's see what we can do." And I'm pretty good with setting up business, like a business model. And so I said, "Look, you trying to do this massive shit. I mean, it was his his idea was amazing, and that's not even at the Renaissance. We were at the Double Tree when we started, and he said, "Look, it's gonna be this ballroom and this other like five ballrooms, six ballrooms," and I'm like, "Dude, I mean, I know I'm good for a good 800 people if on my own to pull if I really work hard, but when you're talking about a couple thousand people, you need the manpower to do that."
Right.
So I think one of the things that I brought to the table, and he can tell you, I I I basically said, "Listen, I will do it, but I would like to set up a pyramid type of system so that because we got a lot of square footage to fill, and everybody, if we can set up a pyramid situation where everybody makes money, then it's going to be successful. So he said, how about, well, I don't think we need that. I think my people going to come regardless. I said, okay, maybe your people will come regardless, but my people, I need a pyramid.
Right.
So the first year, um, I I went ahead with my system, and I got bunch of people under me, sub
Mhm.
promoters, and I we made a tier system where they can really make some good, decent money,
Right.
because that's the only way. Um, and it worked amazingly the first year. So the second year, Lee was like, "Man, that system you got. Do you mind if I use the system for our group?" I was like, "Hey, it's 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 all in the benefit for all of us." So um, we we have a. I mean, he has an amazing team. I mean, he is the brains, and Cat is amazing. I couldn't do it without them.
Right.
And you know how Lee is, and um, they're just cut out for that.
Right.
I put my 2 cents in, and we orchestrate the the event, what's going to happen, who we're going to bring in, and so forth. But at the end of the day, production wise, it's all Lee and Cat.
Hmm.
It's Yeah,
Mm.
I'm just the backbone behind it to
Right.
make it work. Unfortunately, this year, due to COVID, is not going to happen.
Nah. Nah.
Yeah.
So do you think that even when this is over, Ramiro, and they have a vaccine, you don't think it's going to get back to like it was they used to? You don't think crowds?
Uh, I think, I mean, the vaccine is definitely going to help. Um, I'm not going to be the first one to get the vaccine. I'm going to wait to see what happens with the side effects. But um, I think eventually we're going to be back to normal. I'm actually helping good friend of mine that runs most of the big clubs in the city, and we're still going forward with the design. I help with interior and signage and that type of stuff, and he's building a brand new 4 level nightclub, uh, and it's about to go on. So, um, but it's unfortunate that a lot of businesses are going out. I mean,
Yeah.
there's as you seen on U Street. I mean, tens of, I mean, at least 75% of the businesses are gonna suffer if
Right.
if not shut down. They're gonna take a hit if they don't get help from the landlords. I mean, they already got the PPP help,
Hmm.
but that's just to be able to keep the employees afloat. But what about your rent? If your landlord doesn't cooperate and doesn't want to get you off the lease, you're stuck.
Right.
So it's going to be very challenging. I mean, and I service a lot of the restaurants and nightclub industry, and I'm seeing them fold every day.
Right. Yeah.
Every day there's one that is closing down. But then again, when this is all over, there's going to be less competition, less nightclubs to.
Right.
So the few nightclubs that are around, they're probably going to do just
Cool.
fine.
Cool.
But it's going to be. I hate to speculate, but I think it's going to be at least another year before we see normality.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it's because it's very dangerous out there right now.
Yes. Yes. So, we had mentioned earlier. I talked to you earlier, and yesterday I had Henry Knowles on, world famous DJ, and you had some experiences with him. Give us the lowdown on that, your experiences with Henry, and talk a little bit about Zanzibar back in the day, and then we're going to end up with talking about your new business.
Well, sure. Well, Henry has a place in my heart, man. If I'm not mistaken, I'm the first one that brought him to the area because I used to follow him, and I used to, I was very passionate about DJing and learning from others. Um, so I used to drive to New York on Thursdays and come back on a Friday, or sometimes just go there and come right back just to hear Henry play. He, so I used to kind of like I used to be Henry's groupie. But then again, he was playing where Tito Nieves was performing and Conjunto Clásico and all the big names, especially in the Bronx and certain so many places that he's DJ'd at. So so I hooked up with him and I said, hey, I'd like to bring you back to bring you down to DC and sure enough, man, I think I had him for almost every birthday that I had. He was my go-to guy because we kind of kicked it off pretty good, and then, but he's an amazing guy. I mean, this guy is he looks like he's 30 years old. You know, it, I try to take him out to eat but he's a vegan or uh something like that. So we had to go to special places for that guy. That's why he looks so good.
Mhm, mhm.
So that the guy is amazing. The guy and I know he's in Bangkok now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I wish I was there too.
Boy, I know, for
Don't we all?
real. Definitely, for real. So things have evolved. We're going to wrap it up soon, but I wanted you to tell us what the story was. A couple of weeks ago, you were on Channel 7, and I was joking with people, and I said, see, I booked Ramiro for this interview way before Channel 7 did. I knew he was hot because I had my finger on the pulse of the city. So tell us about this new business that you've evolved into, and then we're going to wrap it up. And I want to get your plug in about your business and what possible things that you might be having coming up in the future post COVID.
Well, so so to make a long story short, Earl, I was studying the trend of what was happening in China and with COVID-19 and in Europe and I told my wife, I was like, honey, I think we're gonna get hit because it's spreading like wildfire. It's not. It doesn't take a genius to figure out it's coming here. So so I said, and I'm not gonna sit here watch Netflix or TikTok the whole day. I mean, because if I go on a shutdown, then I'm stuck at home, and I'm gonna come up with a new business. And she's like, "What the hell are you gonna do in the middle of a pandemic? Like, what kind of business you gonna come up with?" It's like, I don't know. Don't worry about it. I mean, let me figure something out. I thought about being a toilet paper dealer for a minute, uh, but that didn't go so well. But it was the early stages of. As a matter of fact, I do have a picture on my Facebook that has a T-shirt that says toilet paper dealer because. But at that point, it it triggered in my head. While everybody is looking for toilet paper, how about a thermometer? Like when you really get sick, you're gonna need more than toilet paper. You're gonna need other things. And so my wife was like, so the second day, she's like, did you come up with a business yet? I was like, give me a break. It's only been 2 days. I don't have, I don't know the yet. So give me at least 3 days. So anyway, the third day I went to a happy hour and I was like, I'm gonna pull the trigger on this one. I think this is a good business. So I went ahead and spent uh, a good chunk of my life savings and bought a lot of acrylic, a lot of plastic, quarter-inch plastic, clear plastic. So sure enough, I get home and my wife asked me, "So did you come up with the business yet?" And I said, "Yeah, I think I did." So I said, "What you do?" I said, "I bought shitload of plastic." Oh my God! So she gave me the silent treatment for 3 days. She's like, "That's crazy. You're gonna get stuck. Nothing's happening. That's over there. Nothing's happening here." And and sure enough, 3 days later, everything like the whole country went shut down. The schools, sports. So um, I came up with a um, quick video and just some promo that we're doing sneeze guards because I own a marketing company and a printing shop where we have the capability of routing and cutting these plastics into shapes and so forth. So before before March, we didn't even know what these plastics were for. But now you see them on every check-in, check-out windows at all the grocery stores and so forth. So that's how PPE USA got started. The new company that I started back in early April, late March. It's called Personal Protective Equipment USA, and we service pretty much. I started with the sneeze guards, and I started getting bunch of PPE, face shields, face masks, and now one of our hottest items is the face mask that with people's logos on it because they're using it as a marketing tool because these things are not face masks are not gonna go away even if there is a vaccine at least for another year. So people are using it as a branding piece. Is the new hat. So yeah, I mean we're doing about sometimes we do between 500 and 1,000 masks a day.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, for different businesses that they're just giving them away to their clients as a marketing thing. Just like when they give you a free pen, now they give you a free mask.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's been a crazy ride, especially these past few months. I had not slept much because everybody needs the type of service that I provide. We do disinfecting services, social distancing uh, signage, and all kinds of stuff that it's COVID related. So that is the business that is the other business that I have, thinking that my other business was going to suffer, but it seems like both are doing pretty well. So I'm yeah, I'm pretty swamped.
Good. 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 Good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I need one of those masks with the straight up talk logo on there and one with stuff on salsa. Hook me up.
I Hey, I got you all day. I got you. It's crazy because I went to see my friends at Bachata Brunch the other day, and I had the mask with with a hole so you can drink out of.
Yeah.
Everybody wants that mask now.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be big, Ramiro. That's big.
Yeah, because I'm like, there was a lot of people there, man, and I'm like, I'm not taking my mask off, but at least I can have a little
Right.
sippy cup.
There you go.
Oh.
A little daddy drink.
Yeah,
Ramiro,
but man, it's so awesome talking to you, man. I mean, we should do one of these just for you because you're. I mean, there's so much to that I can elaborate on you, brother. I have a lot of pictures and video.
uh, that's very kind of you, Ramiro. Nobody wants to hear anything about me. They want to hear about
Oh, come on.
you. But thank you so much, Ramiro, for giving me your time. I know you're a busy person. You got to take care of your family, and you're thinking of other ways to make money. So I appreciate you taking the time out, and I look forward to having a drink with you when this COVID is over.
Hey, thank you for having me, and thank you for being a part of DCBX. You always, your room is always lit. So that's not going nowhere.
All right.
I mean, hopefully next year we can have that New Year's Eve again.
Oh, we will. We will. God willing. God willing. Thank you so
Exactly.
much, Ramiro. Talk to you later, young man.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Appreciate it.